Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's card I'm going to start with some hillside borders from Lawn Fawn. This is quite a Lawn Fawn heavy card, so and actually physically a heavy card. There's a lot of layers, but what I'm doing is I've cut these out of some white cardstock, and then I'm using a quickie glue pen just along the edge. There's some stitch detail on there, and I'm just using that as a guide. And then taking some white or clear glitter. This is some Nouveau glitter, and I'm just running that along the edges of each layer. This is the hillside tree border die, and it's also a Lawn Fawn die. And I've just gone along the edge, and now I'm just scribbling on the glue onto each of the trees, and I'm going to add the glitter to that as well, just to give them a bit of sparkle, because it's a very snowy backdrop that we're going to create. And you'll see when it dries it sparkles even more. It's just while the glue's wet it still looks blue underneath there. But a quick glue pen is a good useful little thing to have in your stash. So if you haven't got one, I'd try and get one. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some oxide ink in some tumbler glass, and I just want almost like a glow of blue to come up, so it's almost like an icy sky. And I landed up with a bit of a line, but honestly you can't tell in the end that it's like that, but I tried to blend it out a bit more. This is some I think this is just normal. I think it's the same cardstock that I used for the white panels. I did these quite a long time ago because some things have happened in our family, so I haven't, as you would have noticed, been around for about a month. I mean, I've been around, but not on here. And so I'm just spritzing it with not only a distress sprayer with some water in it, but I also mixed up some pearl powder, mica pearl powder in a separate bottle, and just spritzed that on there. And that gives it this subtle shimmery look, because everything in winter when it snows is shimmery, in my opinion. And I've just dried it off with a heat tool, just enough so that I can carry on with what I need to do. Just a bit more drying because it wasn't quite dry enough for what I wanted to do. So, and I'm going to now stamp my sentiment on there, and I'm using the Joy to the Woods stamp set from Lawn Fawn. I have already cut and coloured in the images using some Copic markers, which are alcohol based markers, so you can or you can use any other colouring medium. And I've just placed the trees on there so I know roughly where to stamp my sentiment, and I've just stamped it straight on there with some VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and it's a nice ink to have. It's a nice black ink. Some black inks tend to be a bit more blue or a bit purple, and you don't sort of notice them necessarily when you're just using them, but they do tend to be like that. So I really like this ink, and it never seems to go dry either. I've had it for years. So what I did off camera is I just added the panel to a card base, and I've also got all the pieces ready with adhesive, because you don't want to sit there watching me put adhesive on the back of everything. So that's like watching paint dry. So I'm just layering up each of the layers, and you'll see that I had a rough idea in my head, but you'll see I'll start to finagle and take some of the pieces up, and because you want some of your trees to go behind the snowy hillside, so it creates depth in your card and in your scene that you're creating. And I also didn't want these trees to not go all the way to the top edge, because I just didn't feel like that would look right. So I'm just trying to layer these up enough that they are going to create that sort of and if I put them the right way around, so that there's some of that depth in there. And then I'm going to layer up my next snowy hillside and another set of trees. Now you could, I've done these all flat, you could have, I could have, you can, if you're going to copy the idea, You can use some dimensional like foam adhesive to try and give you more dimension and more depth to it. Just remember that if you are going to post this, it's probably going to add to your carriage and bulk in your actual envelope, so you might end up paying more because of this is quite a heavy card in itself, and this is all flat, whereas if you then added your foam adhesive, it's going to be quite chunky and it's going to make it even heavier. So once I'd decided where I wanted everything, I used a bone folder just to burnish it on there so that I could really get it to stick. And then the bits of trees that are sticking up the top, I'm just going to trim down, just so it's all nicely looks nice on the top of the card. Now I've created my little backdrop snowy scene. So now I'm going to take all these little characters and I literally just stamp them all out. This is what I tend to do with a new stamp set. I stamp it out, although I've had this probably over a year now. I'm finally using it. Stamp them all out, colour them in, and then have them ready to go for a card. So these I actually did last year and didn't get around to doing it. So because of the way I'm doing my, not really calling it a series this year of Halloween and Christmas, but I am starting to post more or earlier for each of them, as well as some everyday kind of stuff. So hopefully this will work out better for you guys, and you'll get more. I'll be able to create more for you, and for myself, of course, but I'll be able to create more ideas for you and actually get them out there for you. Because in the past I tended to like get all my Halloween stuff out and then not have enough time for Christmas. So I didn't want that to happen again this year. So I'm just deciding where I want them. I've put some of the baubles in the tree, so they're going to look like they're hanging there. I'm just using some glue dots to stick them down. You could use a wet adhesive, or you could add some foam squares or dots or whatever, if you wanted them. So say for the fox in the front, maybe it could be popped up on some foam. But glue dots are great. They're a bit more finicky, I think, for me than just a wet adhesive. That would have worked just fine. And in hindsight, I probably would have done that. But I thought I'd give them a whirl again. They're one of those products that I tend to have, but I forget to use. So I thought, well, eventually the sticky will go, so I need to use them really. And that's what I started to do. So I thought I'd hang the baubles from the tree. I thought that was quite cute. And then I had the little birdhouse, and I was trying to decide where to put him as well. So, trying to figure that one out. And I think I just decided to put him there somewhere. I don't know. I think I was getting a bit frustrated at this point because I was thinking I had a different idea in my head and then it changed. And so, yeah. So just trying to work out where I want to put them. And there's a little holly and berries in there, so I decided to put them on the log. I thought that looked cute. And then I suddenly realized that the baubles were just hanging mid-air, so there was nothing attached. There is actually a stamp in the set that is kind of like a little beads, so you could add those in. So I tried to add that in just with a marker, just with a pen, just so it looked like they weren't just stuck there, that they were actually hanging on something. But I think a black pen would have probably worked better. But I'm just going over it with a Nouveau sparkle pen, Aqua Shimmer I think they call it, and on the baubles and the little heart, and that's it. It is quite a sparkly card, and it is, like I say, it is quite weighty because of all the layers, but I think it turned out quite cute in the end. A little frustrating at times, but it turned out quite sweet. So I hope you like this, guys, and I hope you give this a try, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.